On this episode of That Kingsville Podcast, Pastor Dusan Tillinger from the First Lutheran Church of Kingsville joins us, talking Bless the Bikes 2022 and Hogs for Hospice. We also talk about Play for a Cure from Kingsville Brewery, and we've got some insight in some developments in Kingsville. Join us for this episode of That Kingsville Podcast. That Kingsville Podcast is brought to you by Kingsville Brewery. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for sponsoring That Kingsville Podcast. They are back to their regularly scheduled programming, and Thursday nights at the Tap House are trivia night.
Go get yourself a Light A.
A Light A, a Czech Lager, a Hefeweizen, an IPA, or a barrel-aged stout. See, I know the whole rundown.
What about one of the tanks?
The tanks, they got tank 1, 2, and 3 currently, but as we discussed in our interview, they've got more brewing at the brewery at Kingsville Brewery. So great brews, great bites, and the most fun you can have on a Thursday. The one and only Daniel Bateson will be hosting, and this week's themes. No, that was last week's theme, so scratch that. old copy. But anyway, go see Daniel and the team at Kingsville Brewery on Thursday night.
They'll shine a light on it.
Bar opens at 4. Trivia starts 7:30 sharp. Make sure you come early to reserve your spot. Tap House Trivia Thursday nights at Kingsville Brewery Tap House, Kingsville, Ontario. Thank you, Kingsville Brewery, for sponsoring That Kingsville Podcast. Welcome to That Kingsville Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Hunt. With me, always, Kevin Black.
Yep.
Steve Ianson.
Present.
Gentlemen, development on Jasperson.
So I don't know if you noticed, but there's a section of road that they built. I believe last fall.
Forbidden Road.
No one's allowed to drive on it unless you have a town truck. Then apparently it's fine.
Flashing lights on the roof.
Flashing lights on the roof are okay. There's some street lights there.
Plethora.
Yeah, I think. Well, is the new standard every 6 feet?
18 inches. It's like studs in a wall.
Yeah.
Every 18 inches, you got to listen. Safety first.
You need a stud finder to find the next street light.
Dare I say that those LED lights don't cast enough light to be safe?
Can I just? Do you remember when the LED light thing was all the lights had to change? It was going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars, but the savings was in the fact that
low power consumption
is lower power.
Yeah.
If you put a light every 48 inches. And
can we get that metric?
If you put 17 times the number of streetlights beside each other, doesn't that cross out some of those savings?
Can we just shut them off and just use the greenhouse lights instead?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry.
No, what I was thinking though is so we were led as an LED to believe.
Starting off here early, folks.
Yes.
So word is we reached out to Hydro One. Which got us nowhere. And so emailed, which apparently is how the town's kind of felt, because reached out to illustrious Mayor Nelson Santos, and he updated that the Hydro One crew is supposed to be on scene in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And then when that happens, they'll put up a transformer to, light the 75 streetlights over the span of a kilometer, and then it'll be brighter down that one stretch of highway than it is on the 401 at any given point.
Well, it's an interesting timeline since minor soccer kicks off its season next week. I believe the 19th, 21st, something like that. And as we have noted, the sight lines are somewhat skewed.
It's getting dangerous over there.
Traffic is going to be increasing heavily.
Yeah. It's if you drive that S-bend, it's not really an S-bend anymore.
It's a dirt mound.
It's a dirt mound and a sudden L turn.
Yeah.
And that roadway isn't really 2 vehicles wide anymore.
My other issue simply is the accessibility. I mean, here we are. We have counselors who are constantly pumping accessibility at us, and the number of people that walk to those fields because they live nearby, the path is blocked. So they're expected to go, I mean, the road and path are wide enough. You could go like 50 wide if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's extremely dark though. So soon it won't be.
It just all seems a little...
Oh, the greenhouse lights are on.
A little bizarre. I know a couple of people who live on Mulberry. Maybe we can have them turn spotlights on their backyard.
Yeah,
that might help.
Yeah, just cast a little bit of light.
I was actually thinking maybe setting up a little stand. Maybe I can grow some produce along there. And it's like daylight all the time. Once it gets up and rolling, maybe I can talk to them. They can put some of those purple ones in, like every. Yeah. I mean, if they did every other one, that's probably going to be what, like every 6 feet. That probably is about the right for you know, having your growing bench. You could grow some tomatoes, maybe some
peppers,
mini cukes.
Yeah, delicious cherry tomatoes. Yeah,
and then for the people who have to walk an extra, half a kilometer because all the paths to all the fields are closed, at least you'll have some nourishment. While you're wearing sunglasses at 10 o'clock at night because there's so many streetlights.
Between the corridor, the new expansion on Road 2 between Ruthven and Graham Side Road, and now this, is this the future of the LEDs? Was there too many complaints that they're spaced too far apart and there's a bit of a shadow between light posts? Now it's got to be double the frequency.
Does anyone care?
No.
Like, does anyone care that like it's not perfectly lit the whole length of the road?
And well, there's certain, like if I'm walking home at night, I've got a nice casual walk on, and then all of a sudden it's a brisk run to get to the next street light.
And then you can calm down. Well, good thing is you'll be able to sprint the whole way up Jasperson.
Only if I have the cukes to energize me.
Yeah, exactly.
While we're on this diatribe, can we still get that trash receptacle at the new crosswalk on Jasperson, please?
Or anywhere on Jasperson?
Anywhere. I know I called the town. I didn't ask for things like that, though. You gotta, I don't know, what do we gotta do? Let's file a petition. All the listeners vote for trash can on
trash
Jasperson.
can.
We got a list of 6 at the town hall.
Speaking of voting,
and then they'll have 75 lights directed right at it, like just a ring of streetlights all the way around.
It'll spell Dave. Here's your trash can.
Yeah. Well, Steve, you're gonna use it too. Kevin, you don't have a dog, so
no, I won't.
I
might put my household garbage in it. Just lean it up against the side.
Jeez, don't do that. Plant a couple of trees to obscure the
We're not those
lines.
people.
Speaking of elections and voting, it's an election year municipally, and ballot nominations are starting to enter some people's minds. I've heard some rumblings about some early people announcing informally some candidacy.
Ooh, share. Who?
I am not at liberty to, because it's been informal.
Then you don't bring it up.
Well, I'm teasing Stephen to intro to the next topic.
No one's listening.
Nobody is listening. Windsor and Essex County residents who are considering running in the October municipal election are invited to attend a free virtual seminar at 6 p.m. on April 28th, 2022 to learn more about the process, which I would recommend that if anyone is intending to run for a councillor or trustee position should do their homework.
Did you sign up yet?
I'm
not
not
ask
running
you that, Kevin.
For council.
I was going to ask Kevin. Did you sign up yet, Kevin?
No. As we had the aha discovery, headline news moment a few episodes ago, where we are not going to run for town council.
Despite all the rumors.
Despite all of them, because I have been contacted as many times as the two of you have about, so I heard you guys are running for council. So there's going to be a presentation on this virtual seminar from Ken Antaya, former mayor and chief administrative officer for the town of LaSalle, and presentations from representatives from the Ontario Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. So go to the Kingsville website, and it's in their news section. There's a link that you can register. I think because of the significance of what this election is going to have in this municipality, that everyone should get informed, do their homework, and understand what it is that you can and cannot do as a councillor.
Speaking from experience, there are some very strict and important rules you need to know around signage and around finances. And there's some serious requirements as far as finances go. And if you're going to run, then you need to know those rules inside and out. And this is a great way to learn them.
It's one of those things where you think you know because you've talked to some people, or maybe you've got an idea that there are certain ways that you've seen or heard about on the YouTube or a Facebook group or something like that. There are requirements, there are limitations, there are things that you must adhere to in order to be a valid candidate for this election. Also, while we're touching on that, everybody who would like to vote in the October election, it's October 24th, you need to make sure that you are a registered voter. Voterlookup.ca will allow you to go and make sure that you've been registered for this municipal election. Without doing so, you could show up to a polling station and not be registered and cause a whole bunch of a ruckus.
What are we doing mail this year? Mail-in voting? I forget.
I can't remember.
They approved 2 means, didn't they?
Yeah, it was probably, I think they're doing in-person polls, and then it's usually like show up with your mail-in kit type of thing.
Yeah. Well,
right?
We'll have to verify that just to make sure.
Yeah, we'll get to... See, that shows how
Next
the fact that we're not running. We don't even know how to vote.
We're just so flippant toward, yeah.
I can't be, I'm sorry. I can't even remotely get emotional about wanting to run because I've been so frustrated with the process and how things have gone and whatnot that I don't think I want to put myself through that torment.
I couldn't handle the abuse.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, there was...
And the abuse on your families. And,
yeah.
No.
And it's, as much good as I think I would want to do, it's going to take a certain strong group of individuals that will be able to make the right decisions in light of maybe some popular opinion, maybe some very hard decisions that aren't popular opinion. Yeah. And continue to help grow the municipality.
And with that, I commend anyone who does put their name forward, that has the guts. And it takes guts now. Like it used to be, okay, you might take a couple of personal shots here and there.
Yeah.
But this day and age, it's
constant. Yeah. Everywhere you go. Every conversation you have.
We're really selling the position here.
But you should sign up.
Yeah. No. It's full disclosure.
Yeah.
Right. Transparency.
I don't think it's anything anyone hasn't heard. Best thing to say is if you're going to run, stay off social media.
Well, and then good luck getting elected.
Yeah.
I agree with that too.
It's a catch-22 of sorts. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting thing. So as the next few weeks go on, there'll be that information session, and then in May, we'll have the official opening of candidacy. So we'll see if some of the rumored individuals that have teased whether or not they'll be running actually file the application.
Yeah.
So interesting. So
it's going to be a fun year.
Going to be a very interesting
there's
year.
A provincial one before that, but still.
Oh, there is?
September. It's fun.
That was in June.
No, it's in June.
June, yes.
Yeah, it's in June.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Do you
Elections.
know when that is?
June. No, I don't know when that is. I didn't look it up yet. No.
24th? Does that sound right? Or is that the municipal?
I thought it was earlier.
Yeah, October 24th is municipal.
I forget.
Days. Hey, there's plenty of time
we're
between
on
now.
tonight. We're just
there's plenty of time.
There's an election.
We got a few podcasts between now.
Yeah,
on a day that's coming up.
One thing that is coming up that you need to take advantage of before is fourth dose boosters are available through Erie Shores Healthcare at the Leamington Municipal Building at 111 Erie Street North, April 19th to the 22nd from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. So if you are interested in the fourth booster shot, or second booster shot, fourth dose stuff.
Yeah.
June.
April 19th to the 22nd, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. 111 Erie Street North.
The election is June 2nd.
June 2nd.
Thank you, Gary.
Wow, that's like
June 2. Coming up.
Practically tomorrow.
Month and a half away. Yeah.
Boy, oh boy.
For that, because I made that graphic.
No, you didn't.
I can tell you that first, second, and third doses are also available at that clinic if you are eligible. Eligibility requirements are available on Erie Shores social media, but it's the same as what the eligibility requirements are anywhere. It's 60 plus. You need to have a 3 month gap, I think. 5 month gap.
3 month gap.
3 month gap.
Yeah.
Since your last dose. No appointments needed. Just show up.
Guess what else is happening in Kingsville end of April? April 28th from 9 a.m. to noon. Thursday, April 28th. the Kingsville Seniors Expo.
Ooh.
Oh, good.
It's back.
Good.
Back in full effect. Health, lifestyle, nutrition, leisure, active living at 1860 Division Road, just north of Road 2, behind the Kingsville Community Church. Be a part of the Kingsville Seniors Expo. Kingsville Community Center is pleased to host the Kingsville Seniors Expo, promoting health, lifestyle, nutrition, and active living. This community event will be filled with informative and supportive information, interactive displays, products, and entertainment. You can expect a wide range of exhibitors, and the first 50 visitors will receive goodie bags. So Thursday, April 28th, 9 a.m. to noon.
That's where the community center is. Yep. I had no idea. I kept seeing it, but I didn't know where it was. It's behind. Has it been there for
it's been there for a few years. Yeah.
Really?
It's part of the church building.
Yep.
Like it's not a separate entity. The church extended and basically some of the volunteers of the church started the community center. They started as like a small cafe with some drop-in opportunities for different classes and stuff like that. And it's just grown. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So other news in the town of Kingsville, we got a new hire for the town of Kingsville, new manager of Parks and Recreation. Courtney Godfrey has been hired on as of the announcement earlier. Apparently, she's previously worked at Sheridan College as their athletic facility coordinator, where she oversaw all facets of the facility operation and design and redesign of recreational facilities, holding a Master of Educational Leadership, Master of Business Administration, and Bachelor of Science Adult Education Certificate, and Sports Manager Certificate. She went to a lot of school.
It's a lot of school.
It's a lot of school.
Shows her stuff.
Courtney has strong skills and project management skills, significant experience supervising large staff groups, and a history of managing complex, large-scale events and conferences virtually and in person, says Director of Community Services, Richard Wyma. Looking forward to Courtney bringing her fresh perspective to the Manager of Parks and Recreation role.
Cool.
So, yeah, we're filling in some of those gaps that we've had with some recent vacancies. So be interesting to see what gets brought onto the town in the coming months. Now that, tourism and things like that can happen again. It's exciting.
Should we mention Mayor Santos's new gig?
Last but not least, Mayor Santos made an announcement that now Jack Miner, Executive Director, Mayor Nelson Santos.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's a new role, right? I don't think they had.
No, Mary Baruth held that role for a number of years.
Oh, that's right.
And then I believe someone, I don't know if, and I'm not going to say this is gospel or not. They did have someone, whether it was an interim or
it was
full-time position. But
Jonathan Pinto's wife. What was her name? She was the ED there. He works. I know him from Peterborough, but he worked at CBC in Windsor, and he took a job doing afternoons in Sudbury, so they moved, and so she would have had to have stepped down from that role when they moved up to Sudbury. So that's would have been a relatively recent vacated role.
Well, good for Nelson. He can go take a gander at the new position.
Honk, honk.
See, and that's perfect. Gander and a good.
It fits.
He gave. So we were texting back and forth because I texted him to wish him well, and he gave me a couple pretty solid ones. Let me.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah. Can't help himself. Can
it's
he?
nice to really have a chance to spread my wings.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. He has to be sure that he doesn't go afoul.
No, I think he'll soar in this position.
Yeah.
You gotta wear out that button. I like that one.
Yeah,
that's an aggressive honk. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Jack Miner Foundation and the grounds. There's been a lot of improvement over the last few years, and now that people are getting back out, Kennedy Woods. I discovered Kennedy Woods really with the family and the dog over COVID because we really didn't have anywhere to go, and realizing, holy cow, there's this wonderful nature walk right in our backyard that you kind of took for granted. So, there's everyone that grew up here, Kevin, I'm sorry. And you might have been a little bit too old, but do you have the stereotypical picture of you feeding the geese at Jack Miner?
I think I was always scared of them, but I have the stereotypical picture of my kids feeding the geese.
See?
Yes.
See, as do I, and you probably do for Sebastian and Mia.
No. But we probably need to.
Back to old Mimi with him.
We probably need to.
Ouch! Ouch!
There's still time.
Joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, we've got Pastor Dusan Tillinger from the First Lutheran Church in Kingsville here. Welcome to the podcast, Dusan.
Thank you very much for having me here. That's my pleasure.
You've made it now. You're on the local, media that remains with whatever audience we have left. So thanks for joining us.
You're on That Kingsville Podcast. That.
Yeah, not the other one. It's that one.
That one.
So
Here they go.
big month coming up, May 1st, Blessing of the Bikes 2022. Tell us about the event this year.
So this is our 5th time that we are organizing Blessing of the Bikes. It's always falls on the first Sunday of the month May. So this month it's May 1st, and we are very excited actually going back into pre-COVID setup, which means that it's not going to be drive-through as we had last 2 years, just drive-through, bless riders, and it was all done. But this year we are going to go to have a worship service at the beginning at 10:30, outdoor worship service, live music. And after that, we are going to a blessing of the riders or bikes, if you will. And that will happen at 11:30. After that, we always have a big party, live music, food, and the fellowship together. So we are very excited that this time it will happen again. And we expect a lot of people. Last time we met like this, like 2 years ago, 19, we have over 750 riders. So we blocked the whole beach street. And so this year we expect actually even more, around 1,000, more than 1,000 riders.
How did it get started? Just brief history on how this, whose idea and where it came from.
It was more coincidence than anything else. So one day, Joe Oswald showed up in our church, and we had some dirt bike riders in our church, and I promised them, I'm going to start the season. We are going to bless you, and you can start safe riding. And then Joe shows up in the church, and I like that. I just don't know why. So the next day, I go to Leamington to make my visitation at the hospital, and I have the nudge, like, go see Joe. So I said, all right, I'm going. So I knocked on Joe's door and CIBC, and Joe says, give me 5 minutes and I'll be yours, right? So then, and I said, Joe, listen, I do you have something with Hogs for Hospice? And he says, well, basically I'm one of those founders of the Hogs for Hospice. And I said, I plan to start the season with a blessing. Have you ever had something like that? And he says, basically, yes. Last year we had someone from United States, but we are looking for someone local this time. So I said, what if we would just join each other and do the blessing? And we started like with 300 riders. It was good. And every year we just want to add more and more events and stuff we can do, but also connect community. That's one of the big things. That's not only First Lutheran Church, but all churches are invited actually to participate.
To sign up, if a rider wants to be part of it, is there a form? Do they need to contact anyone, or do you just show up on your bike?
They just show up. It's very interesting because Hogs for Hospice, they have a huge database of people that follow them on Twitter and Facebook, and so when they put something like that on, it's amazing the how many riders are connected, right? So we had people coming from United States, people from London. There were some guys from Toronto coming.
Why do you think they do?
They are very interesting community. So they wanna first of all start their season, but also I think it's more about riding safely, right? Like being on the bike. That's what I learned, and they told me actually that there is always that kind of fear when you go on the bike that you might not come back home. Mm-hmm. And so every single opportunity they have to get like blessing or pray for their safe ride, they will use it. So this is a big thing. And we start their season, right? So they are very, very excited about it.
So the setup, obviously all the events happen at the church, but where you can't put 1,000 bikes at the church. So where do they go? And is there any sort of traffic control that people should know about?
Yeah. So how it works, at the beginning, we had people coming for a worship service with cars. So we said, okay, after like 30 years, we said, like, you cannot park at the parking lot. You have to park somewhere away so these riders can come. So we have a pretty big property where we can probably put 700 bikes. But then Hogs for Hospice, they are very good. They are organized perfectly. So they basically asked the town of Kingsville to block Beat Street and half of the road, right? And so we will park another bikes there and surrounding areas. So, we don't want to block the traffic, but we have to let them to park somewhere. You
must be excited after a couple of years. I mean, just seeing you, like you're like jumping out of your skin over it, which, and I mean, it's every week, I think we're going to have these moments, over this year where we're starting to, be able to feel and enjoy things that we haven't for a couple of years. What is it about this that's really getting you amped up, that's getting you pumped up?
Yeah, there was a sudden stop before COVID, right? So all those events that we were organizing, all of a sudden we stopped, and there was a shock for everybody. And it's not good not to get together. We understood the situation. So good thing is that we really didn't stop the blessing, because there always was like a drive or right through blessing with a distance and everything. We followed the rules, but this one, we can go back actually to what we were doing before. So, and I think there are more and more people excited about this blessing. More and more people know about it. So more people are happier, right? So that's why I'm very excited what this year will really bring and how it will look like. We don't want to really go like with something new, but we want to go basically connect the year 2019 with this year to make it happen.
It's an interesting scene, and I remember going 3 years ago, and it's not just you have your Harley riders, you have your speed bike. I don't know.
Sport bikes.
Sure.
Bikes.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Yeah. Sport bike. It's as diverse as a crowd and bikes and everything. And not to pigeonhole or stereotype anyone, but you wouldn't necessarily associate some bikers and church. But the dynamic is it's quite fascinating just from an outsider standpoint, I think. Could you touch on just the camaraderie you see from the riders and their families and the church community?
Yeah, the riders, they are, as I said, very interesting group of people, right? So we always things like hell angels, right? Like bad guys, take your baseball bats and kill those guys. No, these are Sons guys who are, who are normal people who have passion for riding bikes. And if you ever rode on a bike, you know that it's the nature that surrounds you, and you are just with connection with the outside, right? And so when they meet each other, they are very friendly. They are friends and try to help each other. But most of these people these days are basically guys who work hard during the week. Let's say they are managers or doing something else, and then they just change the clothes and they just go on their ride. And so that's the dynamic you feel there. For the perspective of church, we are here. We understand in our church that church is not the building. It's not that we gather once a week, right, and do our job for 1 hour, like worship service. But church is community of people as well. And how can we express our love through actions? So we love this community of Kingsville, and we want to be part of that, and we want to serve here. And there is a great opportunity to serve to these guys with food, good word, prayers, whatever we do.
So 2022, it's now Hogs for Hospice is coming back July 29th through the 31st. Do we have a continuation of your involvement at the actual event this year? We're going to weasel you in there somehow? We're going to have to talk to Joe and figure out how you can do a follow-up?
The event that is happening in July, and it's a little bit different, right? So there is a worship service. There are other churches connected from Leamington. We have volunteers who are there working, but we are not like a church that is the only one involved in that. We more work in the background with our people, helping, picking up garbage or whatever it's needed to be done.
Great.
So the blessing of the bikes, give us the logistics again for people that missed it at the top. When, where, and what do people need to do if they want to take part?
If they want to come for the blessing as a riders, just come at 10:30 for the worship service. If you believe, you can come and have worship service, or you can come 11:30 for that blessing. Stay with us until like 1 o'clock. That's the time when we have dinner or lunch and do, some fellowship. This year, actually, it's going to be very interesting because we were discussing how we can involve community of Kingsville into it. Usually when we have parades, so people are outside and waving, and it's kind of cool thing that people are involved in it. So we were thinking like, how can we do it this year? So what we decided to do, to prepare coffees at Tim Hortons and on both Tim Hortonses, and let those riders to stay. And when there is like 100 riders, they will get a signal and they will all go through the town. So there would be a lot of rattling and a lot of people. Hopefully they will come out. Yeah.
Sunday, May 1st from 10:30 through whenever this is over. And be prepared, Kingsvillians, folks.
And also, if you wanna volunteer, just let us know. Call me as a pastor, or I will give you the contact on people who organize it. We need people for helping with food and set up chairs and all these kind of little things that we needs to be done.
So call you at the church, because I don't think we want to give out your personal number.
I can give you my phone if it's okay. I can say that.
Well, is it a rain or shine event?
Yes.
So it might be a little juicy. It might not. Let's pray for good weather.
Never been.
Well, Pastor Dusan, thanks very much for coming in today to talk about the blessing of the bikes again. It's something that we've all been aware of over the past few years, and thank you for continuing after everything that's happened over the last couple of years in COVID. Hopefully the event continues to build steam, and the fellowship and the participation that you're so desiring comes out in full force. So
thank you guys for having me here, and thank you for doing this podcast. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh. Thank you.
Sorry, it's a personal passion, but thank you very much.
Yeah, I know.
Great. All right.
Thank you.
Great. We were fortunate last week to be invited to Kingsville Brewery in support of Play for a Cure, a hockey tournament with Marty Turco, co-owner with Mark Muzzin of Kingsville Brewery, helping support a foundation raising money for cancer research locally. They had a great open house where they had some donations and some prizes to help raise funds towards this great event. So Kevin and I, unfortunately Steve couldn't make it, we were invited to be a part of this event. And we've got some audio that will play now with regards to what the event was and what Marty and Mark feel about how operations are going with Kingsville Brewery and supporting this wonderful cause.
What's the reason that we're doing the event today? What does that money go towards?
It goes towards the Windsor Cancer Research Collaboration Fund, which has been set up by Jeff and Deletta Casey. Nobody makes any money from the event. It's one of those charities that all the money goes to the charity.
And Mark, why was that important for Kingsville Brewery to partner up with them?
Well, to not be too sappy, quite frankly, the inception of this whole thing was after your mom's funeral. We're sitting in the basement of your lake house, laying on the ground, talking about the rail tracks that you're going to make for wine and whatnot. It put an idea in my head to I wanted to make beer. We had the butcher shop, and I wanted to do something inside here. Thought about it, and that was like, you know what? Let me see if I can make something happen. I'll come to Marty with that after. And, shed some tears, and we both love booze, mostly whiskey, but and beer. We spend a lot of time drinking beers together, and cancer's affected everybody, and it's every single one of us in this room everywhere has been affected by it in some way, shape, or form. So it's important to be able to give back to something that is giving to the world to try to help to find a cure for cancer.
So it's got a fun twist on it where you guys are going to take some shots tomorrow. How I heard the prop bet joke. How do you think you're going to do? How are you going to fare?
Personally, at this point in time, I'm excited to say I'm not excited about the shootout. Jeff Casey put our name on the trophy. My name's on the trophy. So when it's all said and done, winning is already done. And I'm excited about meeting hockey players I've never met, to be honest, especially here in Essex County. I know Kingsville Brewery, we've done our part to help raise some money and notoriety. Our work is not done. We're fully committed. And to what Mark had said earlier, my mom passed away of cancer. What Jeff Casey and his group are doing for Play for the Cure, I think is pretty darn amazing. These events, I've been to a lot. There's not many like this across this country or even the United States, to be honest. This is an all-in type of event. And so, hey, if I got to put the equipment on for one last time, hey.
One last time.
I'll do it. There's a means to the end. Let's not kid ourselves. We want this thing gone. We want it cured. We want people to get the best treatment possible. We want health equity and at its finest. We want people to seek treatment. We want people to be smart. We want people to have the best possible resources, like Jeff did, and that my mom needed. And if we can do that, having fun, playing hockey, if I got to try my hardest to stop some shots against people on breakaways and look like an old fool, I'm down with that. I'm not immune to it, I'll tell you, we are, and this is for Mark and I at least, like Kingsville Brewery is this is fun, man. It's a business, but this is the fun part of the business, getting a chance to have a few pops, bring people to our tap house, share in the good times, and all the while bringing great recognition to a really worthy cause that's doing yeoman's work in a field that is just, Mark said it so good earlier, like it just touches everybody, and it's touched us, so that's what we're doing. Am I excited to answer your question? Yes and no.
Well, this is a good reason to be here for your first visit to your tap house.
Great reason. Don't need a bigger one. It's just great to see people hustling and bustling again. Let's get back to life. Let's get back to I'll tell you, the one thing that the pandemic has taught me, us, and most people I talk to, is that the outdoors is the place to be. Kingsville Beers is brewed for the outdoors. It's a beer for the wild, and we're like, hey, let's enjoy yourselves. And I know we're sitting inside now, which is also part of life. It gets cold out every now and then. I'm from Texas. I'm like, a little chilly on a cloudy day, rainy at Kingsville. But there's no better place than being around people that make Kingsville Brewery look great, make this tap house look awesome. The food is phenomenal, and for us to have this little cool event here to help raise a little more money for a Play for the Cure. I mean, I just, me personally, it's just probably nothing cooler in my life, my week, that what's going on right here. And again, to talk about it with you guys, man, just thank you for giving us a chance.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate it. And talking about being outside, the beer garden, now, is it going, I know we talked a little bit outside of the interview. Yeah. There could be some changes. So what are some of the improvements that are going to be coming to the beer garden this year?
As soon as we get everything kosher with the town, they're going to allow us to have people inside. so you'll be able to view the brewery proper from the inside while you're sitting down drinking, eating, which is amazing. And get that real brewery experience which I think personally is the one thing that we're lacking as a craft brewery, is to be able to sit in the room where the beer is being made and to be able to view that. And that will change when we're allowed to do that. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in Kingsville this summer as well that we aren't doing, that we're going to be a part of. The Kingsville Music Society is going to be having some concerts. We've been chosen
Greenway
as
Jam.
The Greenway Jam. So yeah, I didn't know. We're going to be one of them. And my childhood friends, how strange is this? Elliot Brood is going to be playing at our brewery, Juno Award-winning band. And they didn't even know that it was at our place. So I texted Casey, one of the members of the band, saying, hey, you guys are playing at the brewery. And he's like, oh my God, on the Greenway thing, that's at the brewery, which is amazing. So there'll be a couple thousand people out for that event. So it's going to be a really exciting summer. We've got a lot of great programming going on. As you guys saw last year, people have an appetite to go down to that site. With the sounds, the sights and the sounds of the lake, the smells, it's just nice.
So what do we have that's new coming from the brewery? Any new products, anything new that we can sample?
Not as of yet. We still have our 5 core brands that we're working on, still continuing to produce. But now that we have the ability to brew in-house, we will be piloting some smaller batches of test brews that Derek will be bringing out to the world. And he's got a few ideas still. Nothing crazy yet, but there'll be some interesting new concepts coming out as we move forward through the spring and summer for sure.
Well, and you guys have the distiller's license now too, right?
As well, yes. We've got some RTDs. And we've got a really great name around the RTDs as well. That means a lot to ready-to-drinks, RTDs. That's the official name in the category.
My wife happens to like the cucumber seltzer from the beer garden last year.
Yeah, and we've improved on that cucumber, and it's the newest version that Marshall's made is absolutely fantastic. So
can't wait.
Yeah, those will be in can eventually. We've got a canning line that's coming online, say July, August. When that happens, we'll be able to package these RTDs as well. The name around the RTDs is something that's near and dear to both of us, the two of us, which is amazing. It's great, and to this area. A local guy who was born and raised here, and leave it at that for now. But
For the brewery.
Well, everything's bigger in Texas. So that's J.R. Ewing, Tony Romo. Everything's going good. Our business has got a shot in the arm to start hiring some new people. So we are now looking at just growing our business in Texas. Every beer that has ever been consumed in the great state of Texas has been made right here in Ontario. Very proud to say we're the only Canadian beer that's being promoted down there, marketed. I think we're the only good Canadian beer that's in the market. And so it's really fun for me. And saying that my team is doing a really good job at selling the beer. And so as we're ramping up production here and adding to our facility, it's just going to give us an opportunity to sell more beer. And so as a business, we're like, hey, things are going great, but what's next? What's more? And we're starting to get into the weeds and figure things out, which I think is really important for us. It's starting to feel good, starting to feel right, and the Texas market is appetite for really awesome beer. There's a little awesome beer here in Ontario. There's a lot of great beer in Texas. We make some dynamite beer, so we put our candle into the wind, and we'll survive with anybody. Whether it's here in Ontario or down in Texas. So we're doing just fine. We just need to continue to make more beer, put a little more money in the pockets so we can market it. And I can't wait to make Kingsville people proud here the next time they visit our state, to be like, hey, I've had it at American Airlines Center or South by Southwest or AT&T Stadium watching the Cowboys. Those things are coming. Some of them are happening now, and they're at really awesome places that move a lot of volume. They love our beer, and so we can't wait for more Canadians to come on down to our county, our Texas, and sample some of the beer that's been made right here in Kingsville.
I have to ask because, we've got the hockey prowess that's at this table. early Stanley Cup picks. Colorado's looking pretty good. I'm sure you don't remember. Last year you picked Colorado. They should have took it.
Well, I picked them because they're good, and they're good again this year. Last year the West was awesome in the season. This year the East looks so crazy dominant, from Florida and Tampa and Carolina, New York, obviously Toronto. The Leafs look awesome. They just had a crazy stint on the Florida swing. Boston's a sleeper. Ovechkin, you literally never know. So the East seems to be the front runner. The West is kind of fun, super competitive. I love seeing Minnesota up there. I just think they're really awesome to watch. Sneaky seeing no one talks about the Kings. I'm like, Dad, the Kings they're not a wild card. Like, they're in the playoffs. Yeah. These guys they're good. But in saying that, I think the favorites out of both to me would be Florida and Carolina out of each division, and then I would probably say, tough to say Colorado again, but I'm going to go with Colorado again, even though Fleury went to Mini. I love the goalies. And in the Pacific side, I'm like, oh, man. Didn't even have a top team. But Calgary, my boy Kirk Muller, those guys play the right way. And if they don't drink beer, they should. Kirky does. Sutter does, for sure. So it's going to be an interesting playoffs. A lot of goalies had great years, and we have 50 goal scorers. We're at our third, fourth.
Yeah.
I mean, I should keep up. Ovechkin's not there yet, but it's going to be close.
It'll be close.
Anyway, it'll be a fun playoffs.
Great goalies, except for Leafs goalies.
Easy on Jack. Leave Jack alone.
Okay, so, all right. I'm a Leafs fan. It's the only hat I could find. So a spell that he went through this year. Do you remember did you go through anything like that in your career?
Never. And I could say this because Jack's a friend. I've known him since he's 13 years old. Jack has had a spell. The team's also had a spell. I don't think the team is set up defensively to help out the goalies.
Yeah.
And if you looked up and down the roster, and if you'd asked Freddie Anderson, he wouldn't want to come back here either. They pop goals. It's not ideal.
Have a hard time clearing.
I do think Jack was really good earlier. Jack could bring him back. The Leafs need him to bring him back. And I think it's going to be fun watching down the stretch. That's the Leafs bring it. But they bring attention, they bring anguish, but they also bring maybe the coolest victory in North America if the Leafs would ever win a cup. And if Jack Campbell could do it, I'd be the first guy there, literally on the streets, on the side of a parade, buying a ticket, because it'd be one of my proudest moments as a friend watching a guy do it. There's no cooler thing. There's a lot that needs to happen between now and then, but it'd be really, really fun to see the Leafs win it. But I'm telling you, if Jack Campbell was the guy,
well, it's such a great story too.
You see his interviews, man. Jack's so great.
He's nice.
He's
like
genuine.
A nice guy.
He's genuine.
So on the whole, the team from Kingsville Brewery was able to raise $34,000 to support the cancer research in the community. They want to thank everyone that attended the meet and greet, purchased beer, or supported the campaign, the team through the campaign. It wouldn't be possible without the help and support of the local community, and they can't wait to do it all again next year. So we want to thank both Mark and Marty for their hospitality. Again, supporting this podcast throughout thick and thin. It's been fun.
Well, and I believe Play for a Cure raised on a whole close to like $300,000, over $300,000 over the event, which ended with a all-star game, which Michael Layton and a former NHL goalie, and of course Marty Turco ended up taking penalty shots. from
$375,000.
so much money
$375,000
directly to cancer research locally.
Directly to
Fantastic.
cancer research.
Yeah.
So, it's great when a community can rally around an initiative like that. And again, the team at Kingsville Brewery just open-hearted, full supported Isabella, Mark, Marty, everybody, all the staff there. It was a fantastic event. Highly recommend anyone join and help support where possible. Other sports news in Kingsville, Steve.
Oh, yeah.
High school sports.
Your
Soccer.
boys' soccer team won their first game.
Hooray.
Ooh.
Yeah. Down 2-0 at halftime. Came back and won 4-2.
Who'd you play?
Leamington.
Our field or theirs?
Ours.
Home field advantage.
Home field
Yes.
advantage. How was the condition of the fields?
Little
Wet?
wet, but the high school field drains quite well, actually.
Yeah.
So it was, a little slick. Ball was a little slick, but hey, they played their
So what was
their
the
socks off in the second half.
what was the TSN what was the TSN turning point? Like what made the difference in that win?
Halftime.
Okay. Just needed a little break.
little pep talk.
No, I mean,
Needed a pep talk from Steve.
We started slow. We had some chances, and then they took theirs. And then second half, it was just, stay calm, shoot.
Yeah.
Chances will come. And once we got one, it was kind of like, okay, they're trying to hang on, and we just kept coming and coming. And yeah, the boys played a fantastic game.
They believed.
Is that a reference to?
Maybe.
Yeah, possibly.
And then also opening day just happened in baseball. So both the Tigers and Jays on opening day had pretty spectacular comebacks.
They did.
Yeah.
It was an exciting start.
Tigers was a little bit, unusual the way that things went, but he didn't catch that ball. Kind of bounced off the wall and whatnot, so it was a little, touch and go. But hey, it went. So that was a base hit.
Yeah.
Run scored.
It went right by us. Him.
Honk honk. Oh,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's better.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Then the Jays came back down 7-0. Ended up winning 10-8.
10-8.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. I
Nice.
was in Detroit today, and they had a 5-10 start against Boston. You do not know how hard it was, even in the cold and rain that it was doing today, just driving by the stadium and going, I can go there if I want.
Yeah.
How'd
I
they
could
do?
Go to there. No, they'd be still playing, or it'd be almost over.
I don't know. I saw the line on Matt Manning was good. Apparently, because there's all this. They've had 3 games and the starting pitching hasn't been great. And all of a sudden it's like, oh my gosh, the Tigers starting pitching. Should we be worried? Like, come on.
It is April in the D.
They probably should be worried, but
Well, it looks
at
like
the same time, I mean, the Tigers aren't really expected to do a whole
No,
lot.
77
no, they're
wins.
supposed to make the playoffs.
Yeah, but 77 wins is
No,
that's
better.
their over-under.
Better.
Come on.
Javi Baez hit a home run in the bottom of the 8th.
And he walked today, too.
And I don't know what the finals, if it's final yet.
It's worth that big paycheck.
And the Raptors open playoff 6:00 Saturday against the 76ers.
What now? Please help me refresh. What's the format for the first round of the
I
NBA?
can't remember.
All I
honestly don't remember
about the format is it's way too many games.
I think is it 5 in the opening round or is it 7?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Honestly,
I
I
thought
forget.
baseball was the only one that did 5s.
Oh, it should
It
be.
might be 7. It might be 7s.
3.
Well, they have the play-in
Yeah.
games now, right? And
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So that kind of changes things. But the Raptors have had the 76ers number all season. They're the higher seed. The Philly is the higher seed, but the Raptors have played well against them. They're playing very well to end the season. So it's going to be playoff basketball is a little bit different than regular season basketball. So it'll be interesting to see how that series shakes out. But and there's a couple of pretty key 76ers that aren't vaccinated, so they can't play while
Can't
playing
come
in
to
Toronto.
Canada.
Yeah.
So
Shaq has predicted a Philadelphia sweep.
Yeah, that's madness.
it's all
That's
right.
not going to happen.
Well, we'll see. Speaking of, we didn't predict the NCAA championship, right?
Yeah,
When
we
the
did.
pick.
Yeah, I think
don't
it was
think
like
anyone
all
picked
Michigan State.
nobody picked Kansas.
No.
Nobody picked Kansas.
No one picked Kansas.
That's the thing.
And then did you hear? So there's controversy on the Twitter sphere because TSN tweeted out a graphic saying how Austin Matthews scored 50 goals in 50 games, and no one's done it since Mario Lemieux did it in the 90s. And but then all the Leafs haters came out because
which there are a lot.
There are a few. Basically, fans of every other team except Toronto came out and said, "Well, hold on, because Mario did it in the first 50 games of the season."
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it sure
doesn't
does.
State.
I'm
It's
kind
50 games. I'm with Leaf fans on this, and I'm. That's hard to say. But
Wash your mouth out when you get home.
yeah, well, I'm gonna have to. Stiff drink. But
I agree. It's an incredible feat that to be able to do something like that in a season, whether or not it started at the beginning of the season or started halfway through the season,
or even if you did it over the course of 2 seasons, like you score 10 goals in 10 games to end a season.
Oh, that I would have an issue with.
Really?
Because then
would it not be 50 and 50 still?
it probably would, just because they like to celebrate things. But I kind of that like one season to the next, I have an issue with.
Okay. All right. Well, then going back to your original point.
But I think inside the season is fine. I think that's fine.
Well, somebody said it was 57 games, but he didn't play in 7 of them.
True.
And that was another
that he dressed in.
Yeah. I mean, he still scored 50 goals in 50 games played.
Yeah.
That's
the
that's
50
what
that
they're
he dressed
saying,
in. Yeah,
right?
it doesn't have to necessarily be consecutive
and
team games.
And then the other side of it is, it's not like that 50 goal and 50 game Mario Lemieux record is anything official. It's just
an anecdote.
Yeah, it's just, he did this, and it's cool. It's not like the Triple Crown. It's not like the batting title. It's not like the
MVP
the scoring
award.
title, the MVP. It's not that there's like an official achievement to say that this happened. It's like, he scored 50. Like, he did score 50 goals in 50 games played.
And like Uncle Rico used to be able to throw a football a quarter mile.
Right.
or Al Bundy scored 4 touchdowns in Pokai. Does anybody remember Married with Children? I'm that old.
Yes.
Thank you. Oh no, I'm talking to the audience.
Oh, them.
Like either.
Of course, the 4 people that watch us know. They probably are going to go and watch one of the reruns after they watch 7 seconds of what we just did.
Could you? Like, I remember what that show was like. Forget these guys. Anyway. It's been a fun episode, gentlemen.
That's good.
We enjoyed it.
Pastor Dusan coming in, talking hogs for hospice, whatnot. Blessing of the bikes.
Yep.
Big things happening in
Big
Kingsville.
things. Big
It's
things. Really
exciting.
big things.
Hopefully, by the next episode, we'll have an open Jasperson.
It'll be illuminating.
Thanks for joining us again. Please make sure that you...
Or the space station's going to have to, dim the lights when they go by. It's going to be a little bright. The next pictures from WDIV of Kingsville is going to be Jasperson.
It'll overshadow the greenhouse lighting. It's like, and the lighting pollution over southwestern Ontario has increased exponentially. 2 weeks from now, apparently there was a new project of streetlights.
Wonder if anyone's going to file a lighting complaint against the town.
They've got to shroud them.
It's too much.
Oh god! Want to remind you, please subscribe to That Kingsville Podcast on every podcast format that you could ever find.
For every new subscriber, the town of Kingsville is going to install a new streetlight.
Actually,
In between all the other streetlights.
he's got streetlights to make sure that they can see.
Yeah.
The podcast is produced by Gary Glass from Quantum Sound Productions. Visit Quantum.
I wrote 3s next. It's just...
No. There'll be enough light from Jasper's to
Oh, yeah.
They don't need to.
QuantumSoundProductions.ca for all your audio and video production.
They're probably going to
needs.
start turning off the ball diamond lights because it's just so bright
Oh,
at
yeah.
Jasper's.
You won't need it.
They just need mirrors.
You won't need it. Hey, there's cost savings. We're just recycling light.
Yeah.
Recycling light.
Recycling
It's the new move.
I
We're
love
saving it.
I love it.
Batteries. Thanks for joining us on That Kingsville Podcast, where we have overly too much fun.
I don't know if people have noticed. It's pretty dark on Park Street. Like by the Grovedale. Like, I don't know if you've walked along there. Like, they probably could have added a couple of streetlights when they built that thing too, right? Like, No,
They didn't have the budget.
yeah, that's true. They had to put it in the balcony.
We'll see you next time.